How you doing, folks? It's just the learning support team here, Mark, and I have Julie with me. How you, Julie?
Hi, Mark.
We're just going to discuss quickly about the theory test and driving and what it's like to drive and the process of going through the theory test. I know many of you are going through that, if not revising for it. So we just thought we'd help you along the way. Okay, the first thing I'm going to say, Julie, is be careful what you download to revise for the theory test.
And why
The
was
reason,
that, Mark?
the reason why I say that is because I failed my test. Um, because I downloaded a free app on the Google App Store, and it turned out that the questions that were on the app were not on my test because it wasn't for Northern Ireland, it was for the UK, and it was completely wrong. So the fact is, the good apps, you might have to pay for them. You can buy the highway code books. You can also buy highway code DVDs for the hazard perception bit. Um, you might have to pay for it, but you are going to. It'll pay off in the end. Um, did you pass yours first time, Julie?
I did, but what I did, well, of course, I had 20 years experience driving in the US, but what really helped me, and we can put the link in the comments here. I actually put a subscription, I think it was like a 3 month, 6 month subscription to, there's a test. And even though some of it was for the UK, they had like 100 different samples of the hazard perception test. So I went through all of them. So I practiced it
Wow.
100 times. At first, I
It
didn't
paid
really.
off.
It paid off, but the thing is, with the hazard perception test, it has to be a developing hazard, not a potential hazard. And I was having troubles distinguishing between the two. So I had to be very careful before I clicked on the hazard to make sure it was developing and not potential. And that was my problem because I was too quick. Oh, that could be a hazard, but it wasn't developing. It was just a person walking down the sidewalk, and until they actually stepped into the street, you shouldn't click on it. So that was just little things like that that I had to practice. And I really found that that gave you really good feedback. And the other was just the theory test, just going over and over. There were hundreds of questions, and I answered it. Even when I got to the theory test, there were 2 or 3 questions on the theory test that were not covered in the revision material, but I still passed. I think I missed 3, and I think you can miss up to 5 before you fail. So it was good, but it took me 3 months. I studied, and I could have passed the US no problem, but it was just different. So,
Different, yeah.
yeah, very
And
different.
that's the thing about the hazard perception. Everything when you're driving could be a hazard. If it's a windy day, it could be a hazard that a branch falls in your car.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is quite difficult, and you need to revise for it, guys. It's as simple as that. So we've included a few links here which you can use. This can be downloaded free. All you need to do is hit the control button and click on the link, and it will take you to the highway code, a downloadable version which is free.
And we'll include this in the when we send out the links. We'll include this
We'll
document.
include everything. Yeah. Um, Again, there's some recommended material here. You've the NI Direct highway code, and most of the questions come from that. Um, Julie found that, and I think Julie, you used that.
Mm-hmm.
I was smart. I don't think I used that one, but if I
I
had of,
found
I would
that
have passed.
really
Without
found
doubt.
that one I found that one really helpful because of the roundabouts. I wasn't used to going reverse backwards around the roundabouts, and there is a technique um, about doing roundabouts. So that really helped me both in my driving skills and my theory test because there's a very good graphic in the back of that handbook.
Yeah, that's great. And then we have also there's two parts to the theory test. I think yes, it's all detailed down there. We'll discuss that in a minute. But you'll need to practice for the theory, which is multiple choice, and the hazard perception, which Julie was talking about. And she's kindly left you a link, which she also used, which is great. It obviously worked because Julie again passed it in the first go. And then there's other information here through the Safe Driving for Life. And like I said earlier, if you have a little bit of money, and you want to pay for a subscription, Julie paid for this, and she found it very beneficial,
It
Julie.
wasn't a horrendous amount. I think it was like £30 for 6 months access online, and then you can download the app and practice on your app. But I would do it on a computer because when you're actually taking the test, it's on a computer, so it just
Yeah.
that's test conditions. It just helps anxiety and that kind of
So, practice. Try and get into the car as much as you can with your parents. Even if you're not in the driving seat, look out for the road markings, look out for road signs, and look out for developing hazards. Okay? So your parents might think you're looking out the window, but you're not. You're preparing for your theory exam, and keep practicing. You want to try and score full marks in the mock test before you go for the real thing. You want to keep going. If your mock test is out of 50, you want to keep getting 50 out of 50, 50 out of 50, 50 out of 50. When you do that, you know you're ready for your theory.
thing. And if you miss one in the mock test, you'll want to revise it and see why you missed it and understand it because it's no good just doing it and getting the same ones wrong all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I remember writing out loads of times the braking distances, the
Mm-hmm.
stopping distances. I remember writing out what the stop sign was. Whatever suits for you. That's what's important. That you know how to revise, and if you don't, you can check out the revision workshop which myself and Julie had recorded previously. So you're wanting to do your theory test, you've revised, and you're ready for the test. So, on the day, what's going to happen on the day? So, on the day, you must bring both parts of your license, which is your provisional license, which is the green card, and the green counterpart paper bit. Okay, so both parts are your driving license card and your driving license counterpart paper bit. If you don't have these with you, you won't be allowed to sit your theory test. Okay, you want to arrive 15 minutes early. I done my theory test in Ballymena. Julie, did you do yours in Larne?
No, I actually did mine in Belfast.
In
Long story
Belfast.
why I
I'm not
did,
sure
but
if
yeah.
Larne has a theory
Mm-mm.
centre. I think I think the closest would be Belfast or Ballymena. I done Ballymena. I was lucky because I got the train up, and it was within walking distance. So, but it didn't have a convenient parking place. So obviously, if you're getting dropped off, your parents are going to wait on you. You might have to do a bit of walking to get to the place, or find public transport. Some test centres don't have convenient parking places. Does Belfast, Julie?
No, I don't think so. It's in a like fifth floor of a high-rise building, and I just took the
Yeah,
stairs up so I get
yeah.
some exercise before the test and get the good endorphins moving. But yeah, there's nowhere to park, so I just parked clear over to parking garage because I was on a unique situation. I was on an international driving license, so I could still drive without someone
Yeah.
without learner plates at the time. When I did take my test, I drove myself to the theory test, so I was unusual. But yeah, I parked and then had to walk quite a ways. But I allowed myself quite a bit of time just so I wouldn't be late.
Very good. When you arrive at the test center, you're provided with a locker to put your belongings in. Um, they can be quite strict, folks. It's a test at the end of the day. It's a government regulated test. I was wearing a long shirt, and they told me to unbutton my sleeves and roll my sleeves up to see if I'd written anything in my arms. So if they ask you to do that, don't be offended. It's just their protocol. And then they will ask you, have you any tattoos, and to take off any labeling on your water bottle, etc. Have you anything on your persons, and you shouldn't have. Then they will hand you a key for you to put your code in, your mobile phone, your car keys if you have them, your house keys, and all your personal belongings. And this will be in a locker. Um, okay, so then you go towards another lady who again checks your ID and then points you in the place of where you are to sit. When you enter the exam room, it's computers. It's a bit like an IT suite. but there will be people still doing their exam. So you have to be very, very quiet because you're joining, there's people joining and leaving. There's no set start time. Everybody's came at a different time and ending at a different time. Okay. So part one. Oh, also, if you aren't good at reading, if you are dyslexic or you just can't read, it's okay because you can wear a set of headphones. You can plug them in and listen to the audio, and the audio will read the question out and give you the answers. What I will say is you can also flag any questions that you don't know. So the first part is the theory questions, and the pass mark for the multiple choice question is 43 out of 50. Now, that's quite high, believe it or not. You have to get 43 right out of 50. So there's only room for to get 7 wrong. Again, I got
I missed
nine.
5 or
Yeah,
something. It's a
I got
railroad
9.
crossing or a what do they call it? It's not the railroad crossing, it's a train crossing, but they call it something different here and I can't remember what it was. I missed that one.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's the pass mark's quite high. So if you feel like, don't beat yourself up. Just book
Hmm.
it again and go for it. I had to take it a few times. It's as simple as that. Read the questions carefully, and it can be a good idea to read them twice, and you can flag any you're not sure of. At
You are
the end,
timed, so it is good not to spend too much time on each question. Just as Mark says, flag them if you're absolutely not sure. Then at the end, give yourself enough time to go back and read them. And if you still don't know, just guess because don't leave anything blank.
great point there, Julie. You are timed, folks. There is, I think it's 50 minutes, Julie,
I think
or
it's
an
something
hour.
like that. Yeah.
Um, you are timed on both parts. And you get a wee minute or 3 minute break or 2 minute break in between the first part and the second part. But read the questions carefully, read them twice, and if you're not sure of the answers, flag them and come back to them at the end. And then at the end, read through all your answers again if you have time, but especially the flagged ones. And the way you want to do it is a process of elimination. They'll give you 4 answers, or they'll give you a bit more and tell you to select three. Um, and you just rule out what it will not be. And some are obvious, it won't obviously be, um, and some aren't. And then you take a break. You have a 3 minute break before starting the hazard perception. But during the break, you must stay in your seat during this time. If
You
you want
don't
to get
have
in and get
to
it done, take a 1 minute break. Yeah,
you don't have to take the full three
you don't
minutes
have.
because you can choose when to start it again, and then once you click it, then your timer starts.
If you want to get in and get it done, take a minute break or catch your breath, because 50 questions is an awful lot. And then go back in and go for it again. Okay. Part two, you have 14 1 minute clips that are videos, and they'll show you various hazards as they develop. 13 of the clips will only have one hazard, but in one there will be two hazards to look out for. And the hazard perception pass mark is 44 out of 75. Okay, so really what you need to do is you need to click the mouse when you see a hazard develop, and you don't need to put the cursor on the hazard. You just need to click the screen. But be careful. If you keep clicking the screen, you will get a big X on the screen like that, and you will get 0 marks. The way it marks is the earlier you catch the hazard, the more points you get. And I think you get the highest is 5 points.
But what was happening with me when I was doing the sample ones is I was clicking too early and I wasn't getting any points
Getting
because
any
I
points.
was clicking on the potential and hadn't waited till it developed.
Yeah.
So the first time you see it developing, you click, you get 5 points. And then if you wait a second, then it's 4 points. And then it counts down from there.
So what does Joey mean by that? Well, an example would be if you're driving down the road. By the way, the video clip is you driving a car down the road, and it can be built up area, it can be an urban, it can be suburban. It doesn't matter. But say there's a young fella on a or getting or standing beside a bike on the road. If you click that there, you've missed. You've you've clicked before the window, because the developing hazard will be him getting on the bike and coming towards the road. So yes, that is a hazard because there's a fella on the bike, but it's not. He hasn't developed yet because he's. So you need to catch it within the window and the time frame, and practice is key. I remember practicing, Julie, and some of the clips that I practiced came up on my test. So
Hmm.
it's worth definitely practicing and getting a good practice.
Yeah,
Um,
for me, it was practice because I don't think I would have passed otherwise. But just practicing, and as you know, it's like learning to play ball or anything. The more you practice, you kind of get used to clicking, and you get used to watching for them and figuring out what they're looking for. And so it makes it a lot easier. And I passed. I can't remember what I did quite good on the hazard perception actually because I'd practiced so much.
yeah, I think I did as well, Julie. I
I think I
remember
got
getting
like
good marks.
55 or 60 out of 75, so I did pretty well.
Um, Note, what is a hazard? A hazard is anything that will make you, as the driver, change speed or direction. So anything that makes you change speed or direction. And again, the earlier you click, the higher you score. You must score a pass in both sections of the driving theory test to pass the overall test. So if you pass the theory but fail the perception, you fail the test. If you fail the theory but pass the perception, you fail the test. And it's okay to fail. I failed mine. And 50% of people who sit the theory test fail. 50%. So half the people in the room that you're sitting with will have failed them. It's just a matter of going in again. And the great thing is, you've had the experience
That's true,
of
yeah.
going in one time before. So, and sometimes it takes people to have that experience before they can do it, because the nerves at the time, and believe you me, you will get nervous because it's a test. Um, and but once you've done it once, you know what to expect, and you can go in and just focus then on the questions. So it's okay to do it twice. And when you do get it once, nobody's going to ask you how many times did you sit it. Bottom line is you have it, and that's it. The answer is to try, try, and try again. And again, there's a wee video clip with further guidance here, and I've put in a wee um,
Cartoon thing.
cartoon, yeah, that says that he has failed it, but he done it again and he has passed it. So if we click on this YouTube video, I think it's a short video and it just tells you what happens during the day, and we'll watch this just to practice what I've
Can't
brought.
see it.
Okay, that's us now.
No, oh, there we go.
What happens during the
Can
theory?
you hear it,
Yeah,
Julie?
we're good.
Okay. Okay, so folks, we'll just watch this video, and myself and Julie, I can stop at certain points. It's only 4 minutes long, and discuss our experiences. Okay.
Test. Your first challenge as a prospective new driver is to pass the theory test. This examines your knowledge of the highway code and tests to see if you have the necessary road awareness required to drive safely. Step 1. You will need both the card and counterpart sections of your provisional driving license. If you have an old-style paper license, you'll also need photographic proof of identity, such as a passport.
That shouldn't occur to you, folks. You will just have your counterpart and your paper license. You won't have an old style license, so don't worry about that.
Step 2. Booking the test. You can apply to take the test online by posting an application form or over the phone. If you book online, you can take the test the following week and at a centre of your choosing. To fill out the application, you'll need to have your provisional driving licence number handy. Step 3. Arriving. Arrive at the centre at your allotted time and sign in at reception. You'll need to show your appointment letter, both parts of your provisional licence, and proof of identity if necessary. The receptionist will direct you to lockers where you must put all of your belongings, especially your mobile phone. Not that you'd be likely to cheat. Just keep your licence with you. From here, you may have to wait a while before being called to the exam area. Step 4. Multiple choice. The first section of the test consists of 50 multiple choice questions and will look something like this.
Folks, you recognize the room here, okay? This is going to be a room similar to what you have when you go. You will have a computer to yourself, and it's quite simple to use. But if you do need help using a computer, you can just ask. But it will look like this, and you will have dividers between you and the next person. There is headphones as well, and I put the headphones on and used them just because it blocked out other noise.
Look up. You'll be given 57 minutes to complete this section. A clock in the top right-hand corner will tell you how much time you have remaining.
And this is an example of what it looks like. It looks exactly like this. So as you can see, it gives you the question and gives you 4 answers, and you just need to click and answer A, B, C, or D. You can go back to the previous question down here, or you can go to the next question. But you make sure you answer it. If you don't answer it, hit flag, because then you can come back to it at the end. Okay, it's quite a simple system to use, Julie, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any other online test, really. Just
Yeah.
read it carefully.
Yeah.
And read the instructions, because they give you instructions at the beginning that tell you how to do it and what to do and what to expect. And that's very important as well.
Yeah.
You must get 43 out of the 50 questions right to pass this part of the test. There is an option of completing a practice session to get used to the system, which lasts up to 15 minutes. The questions range from text only, questions about road sign graphics, and questions relating to photographs of road and driving scenarios.
And that one was actually on my driving test.
Yeah, there is some difficult ones. Yeah. I would recommend as well doing the practice, 15 minutes practice, just to get used to the system. It doesn't matter if you get the questions right or wrong, as long as you know how to work it.
Although some ask for a number of responses from a range of possibilities.
That's why it's very important that you read the question, because they might ask for 2 answers, they might ask for 3. So you need to read the question carefully and make sure that you're writing or you're answering what they want you to.
If you're unsure of an answer, you can use the flag option to highlight questions that you can return to later. And you can review all of your answers at the end, provided it's within the time allotted. Top tip: don't rush. You have plenty of time to complete the test, and don't have to use the full 57 minutes. When you finish this section, you can take a short break before you move on to section 2. Step 5. Hazard perception. The hazard perception test consists of 14 video clips. You have to click whenever you spot any developing hazards. The earlier you see the hazard, the higher your score. It will look something like this. The test is designed to explore your ability to understand potential dangers and to see if you can think ahead in planning your own driving. This in turn cuts down risks, demonstrating your ability as a safe driver. Always be aware, as one of the 14 clips contains 2 developing hazards. As with driving, you will only have 1 chance to respond to each situation, so concentrate hard. You must receive 44 out of a possible score of 75 to pass. Step 6. After the test. Once the test is complete, leave the terminal and go back to reception. You'll be given a printout with your results on. Don't worry if you fail. Reapply and try again. If you pass, you'll be given a certificate. Not only will this look good on your wall, but it also contains a unique number that you'll need to apply for your practical test. Congratulations, you're theoretically a safe driver. Now it's time to get practical.
And we will share this document with you and the link for that video, folks. You will need your theory test before you do your practical test.
Hey, Harry. Hello, mate. What are your tips for the big...
It's good points. I think it's excellent. It's a bit nerve-wracking, but once you pass it, you don't have to ever do it again. So it's good. It's not
That's
like you
it.
have to do it every 5 years when you renew your license.
Mhm. There is a time limit, folks, as well, when you get your theory test before it expires. Um, so what I'm trying to say is when you get your theory test certificate, you have 2 years until you can do your practical. If you don't do your practical within 2 years, you will have to resit your theory again. The reason for that is because they like to update the questions every couple of years to make sure that it's the most recent information being tested. Um, yep, so all that's left to say is, folks, good luck. And if you need any support or guidance, contact Julie and myself. We've been there, we've been through it. We have all the guidance. We'll send the links and the resources with this video. Until next time, folks, take care and God bless.
Okay, thank you.